So turning to other news this morning, Governor Newsom is expected to make an announcement regarding masking in the classroom. However, if he doesn't lift the mandates, there are certain school boards that are just ready to do it themselves.
Ed Lenderman is live in Oceanside, where one of those school boards might take matters into their own hands. He joins us now. Hey, Ed.
Well, certainly in this area, the San Diego Union High School District School Board is considering a resolution at its meeting today, pushing back. As we know, Rancho Santa Fe has pushed back as well. Those would be the two, depending on how the rest of the board feels about this particular resolution. As we have said over and over, especially recently, as more and more parents say, look, we want some choice here, enough is enough. The teachers and the school staff have been given a mandate by the state, but no way to enforce it in terms of, okay, what do I do? And now it's gotten very ugly, unfortunately, in some schools with kids being separated that just have said enough. And so the school districts are in a tough situation here because you've threatened us with consequences if we don't enforce this, but then you turn around and say, we have no idea how you're going to enforce it, but you're going to have to do it. So it's gotten very difficult, which brings us to Oceanside. Let them breathe, let them choose. The founder behind me here, a familiar face to our viewers, Sharon McKeeman. And Sharon has created, as of this weekend, the building behind me here. That's where we were visiting with you inside, but now they are outside, quite frankly, to publicize what's going on here, and we will learn a little more. Notice the way I said learn. We'll learn a little bit more about that, but let's get to the governor first.
Yes.
You certainly are not expecting him to say today, I'm ending the school mask mandate, but what is your best hope given the increasing pressure and...
Well, we have seen movement in the right direction from students sharing their smiles, from parents advocating, from our legal pressure. Unfortunately, we can't just trust the governor to do the right thing and let them breathe, but I think there's going to be at least a step in the right direction.
A specific date or...
Well, we were hoping that, if it's today, that would be the right call. But I think he may follow the CDC metric. And so we sued Oakdale last week, and we've sent that out to local school districts. And we're telling them, you need to do the right thing. If the governor doesn't today, we know Rancho Santa Fe is on the cusp. And if they don't do the right thing, they could face litigation for excluding students.
So the CDC guidelines that came out on Friday, that would not be California.
Well, it's, nationwide. It's a recommendation. The CDC can't set law. They're not elected officials. But 70% of the country could unmask, even in schools, according to the metrics. But San Diego County right now does not qualify, which, of course, our kids, they need to share those smiles and breathe freely.
Okay, because of the ugliness that has gone on, and this is objective, we've heard from parents whose kids have had it, and now they're being separated or sent home, or we've heard the stories, and it's unfortunate because the teachers don't want to be doing this either. That's not their job. Having said that, you have now taken it upon yourself with your group here to this building now. I guess it was a day spa.
Yeah.
You're familiar with the person that was here,
yes.
And they have allowed you to use this as a learning center, as an add-on for the kids who simply are falling behind and or don't want to be in school anymore because of the situation?
Absolutely. So our focus is obviously on kids being in school. We've been working to return local control to these school boards, but at the same time, we're hearing a need. There are high school kids falling behind. They need tutoring because they've been excluded. We have kids that have been bullied and harassed both by staff and students. They need, ways to heal. We're going to have counselors in here. We're going to have art classes, and we're looking at moving towards a fuller curriculum, either this year or sometime in the fall, because there's other parents just saying, they need other options outside of the private or public school system.
Okay, 1925 South Coast Boulevard. Stephanie, come on in here for just a moment, because the idea here is not just to have people getting the support with the honking truck drivers, etc. You got to try to do a live shot when a guy goes by with a semi. Having said that, we had a little sense of humor here. The idea here is this is an open house from 7 to 9, and you are familiar, obviously, with her organization, but you're also a parent. This is Stephanie. Your kids went to or go to or used to. Where did they used to go?
They used to go to Hope Elementary and Calavera Hills Middle School.
Okay, and you now have them in a private school because?
because I wanted them to be in person in school and learn physically from teachers teaching them, not on a computer.
Be more specific.
Well, when the public schools shut down and refused to reopen, the private schools did have that option to reopen safely, and we pursued that, and they were in-person educated.
So you had a kind of an emotional moment when you walked in. I mean, this is a very small building, and we want to understand. You talk about grassroots. You know, you were just in here over the weekend. Probably isn't going to be this week, but this is going to be sort of after school as learning as well as counseling and well as socialization. And some of these kids, you know, they don't want to be in school anymore because of what's happened to them. When you went inside,
I just burst into tears. It was very emotional. It's been a stressful 2 years for parents, no matter what school you're in, homeschool, public school, private school. These kids deserve to learn. They deserve to be treated with respect. Their mental component needs to be, addressed. And walking in here, it just felt like a room full of hope that we're not stuck. We may feel stuck with the mandates, but there are options and people willing to support those options in a positive way.
Unfortunately, this situation has really galvanized people, and it's pitted kid against kid, and some teachers, obviously, and whatever. And that's unfortunate, which brings us to the emotion that she has here with whether you were for the kids wearing masks or you wanted choice, it has gotten to the point of a lot of emotion. And the kids, unfortunately, are in the middle of this, as so are the teachers.
Yeah. And, the reaction she had is what we just hope for. We want this to be a space where people feel safe to come in. Dialogue. We're going to have meetings here for adults. We've got 2 classrooms. And, a place where kids can remember that education is supposed to be fun and inspiring. And we're asking teachers and tutors to reach out to us because they should be, their job is to educate. That's what they love to do. They shouldn't be the mask police. This is a space for choice, dialogue, learning.
Sharon, thank you. Stephanie, we're glad your emotions are in check. Well, we certainly appreciate that, and I think that was well said. Whatever side you're on here,
right.
it has gotten so emotional that now, unfortunately, the kids are also in the middle of all of this, as well as our teachers who are asked to enforce all of this. As Scott shows you, again, it's an open house from 7 to 9. You've got another hour or so, and I'm sure Sharon will be here. She just wants people to come by and take a look at what could take place after school for some kids who have been emotionally bruised or whatever, simply because of what's gone on. Very unfortunate, but there's a positivity here at 1925 South Coast Boulevard in Oceanside, where we are live this morning.
All right. Thank you, Ed.
Good morning, San Diego. Our live location continues to be Oceanside. This is the day Governor Newsom will announce new guidelines for his mask mandate in schools. Supporters of choice are out here, but they're also here for another reason. It concerns that little building over there. There's Sharon McKeeman, who is the founder of Let Them Breathe, Let Them Choose, and it's also now Let Them Learn, which gives you an idea about what's going on here. And we'll have all of the above straight ahead on a live report. But first, say good morning one more time to Allie.
So back here at home today, Governor Gavin Newsom is expected to make an announcement regarding masking in the classroom. However, if he doesn't lift the mandates, there are certain school boards that are just prepared to do it themselves.
Ed Linneman joins us live from Oceanside with more on what's happening there today. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. Prepared to do. Well, we know that Rancho Santa Fe has already done it. San Diego Union High School Board meets this afternoon, and a particular member has introduced a resolution to push back as well. Having said that, we're getting not very much specific information from the governor's office as to what he is going to say, as opposed to it's going to be guidelines. We're going to update it. Well, what might he say as opposed to what the people here want him to say? And the people here, and that's Sharon McKeeman of the Let Them Breathe, Let Them Choose movement. The people here certainly want the ultimate, which is to do away as of today with the mask mandate in schools. That is not going to happen realistically. But what might happen, or what's the least that they could hope for here? Let me interrupt our conversation for a moment. Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
So I've already prefaced this with he's not going to lift the mandate today. What is okay? What is the best you would hope for today?
well, I mean, we're going to keep expecting that he does the right thing and lets our kids breathe. But yeah, I think
Having said that,
I think it's very likely that he may follow the CDC metrics or possibly be even more restrictive. That's what we've seen in the past.
okay, CDC metrics came out last Friday. Now, certainly he's been considering these guidelines way before Friday.
Yes.
He might couch it with what happened Friday because?
I mean, what we've seen is these things be a concerted effort, right? The powers that be, big pharma, the government, the unions, there's a lot of money at play. And we're seeing, these metrics not do the right things for our kids instead of just the parents, the kids. They don't have unions. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
All right. Another reason we are here and you are here, obviously, is this building right here behind me where you see those three people. Let them breathe, let them choose is now let them learn. You have taken over a small property here, and not certainly this week, but maybe next week, we start a learning center.
Yes.
This would be an adjunct to the school experience, but what concerns you is the kids who've been traumatized by the continuing situation.
Yep.
And so there would be counseling here as well as some after school education, again, next week at the earliest.
Yes. So we're going to have opportunities for kids that are being excluded to get caught up on their schoolwork, to come in and have creative classes, counseling. There may be some offered during the school day, definitely after school as well. We're advocating, obviously, for kids to be in school, but they need other options at this point as they're being excluded as well. And then we're working on providing a fuller curriculum moving forward. We're hearing, I was just connecting with an adult that, she does a lot of, support of children, and we're just trying to make a safe educational space for them.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Speaking of adults who are concerned, this is Brent. Good morning, sir.
Morning, how you doing?
Stay here in the sunshine for us. So you work around the corner.
I do.
You live in Vista. You've got two students at a Vista school, and you're not a longtime supporter and or member of Sharon's organization. You found all this on social media, and you came by because.
Well, I just think it's time for Newsom to lift the mask mandate for the kids. It's happened, in 40-something states. Kids don't wear masks to school. And I have a first grader. He's never been to school without a mask. And I just think it's bad for their mental health. It's bad for learning. There's a lot of reasons, but those are the primary ones.
Well, speaking of a lot of reasons, your children are prepared to take more specific action than just, I don't like my mask.
Absolutely. We're going to see what happens today, but I assume Newsom won't lift the mask mandate for children. And if that happens, my kids are prepared to start a protest tomorrow at their school.
Meaning not wearing it.
Yes.
But we've seen the kids suffer those consequences of either being ostracized or sitting at a table by themselves, and it's gotten a little ugly, unfortunately, and it's unfortunate because the teachers were never asked how they were supposed to enforce this, and that as the pressure has mounted, unfortunately, we've had some situations.
Yeah.
Are your kids prepared for that?
Absolutely, absolutely, and they're 100% prepared to be separated and isolated if they have to. I mean, this is something that really matters to them, and they want to make a stand.
Did they bring this to you, or did you at least discuss it with them first?
My daughter's in the 8th grade, and she actually brought it to me and said that her and a group of her friends were going to do this, and I just was like, you know what, that's a great idea. Talked to all the other kids' parents, so we're all on the same page, and let's wait till Monday and see what happens, and if it doesn't, if nothing changes, then Tuesday morning it's a go.
Brent, thank you.
No problem.
It is Monday, and we await the governor's announcement. Again, according to Sharon, she thinks he's going to go by the latest CDC guidelines, and then it begats, well, wait a minute, they've been considering this up until, and might things change depending on the CDC? And, oh, by the way, that means that California schools would still be under the mandate for the foreseeable future. So stay tuned. We'll obviously have coverage in the later editions of the KUSI News of the governor's announcement of new guidelines for the state mask mandate, students and staff. And speaking of, here they are in Oceanside, and we are back to you on that particular Monday.
All right, Ed.
Thank you, Ed.